Okay, so welcome everybody. What we're gonna be making today is what I truly believe the cleanest vegan patty out there on the market today, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with our gluten-free Avena rolled oats. We're going to use our toasted oat flour and our coconut oil, and we're gonna pulse this for what would be, say, 15 seconds or so, just to bring the ingredients together. What that also does is just breaks up the rolled oats a little bit so that there's still some texture in there, but not overly large, all right? So once we pulse that, we have to add our flavoring agents, okay? So we're gonna be adding some paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, of course, some black pepper, salt. What I find is one of the key ingredients in this for a nice depth of flavor is the caraway. Caraway, and then of course for that little bit of umami flavor, we're going to be adding some yeast extract as well. Okay, we're gonna pulse this for an additional 15 seconds or so, just to disperse and get all those spices evenly incorporated. Voila. So we'll take this mixture right now and we'll place it into one of our mixing bowls. Now, what we'll move to is incorporating our other ingredients together. So we have some red lentil flour, some cracked chickpeas, some navy bean flour, and some cracked black beans. Now you can see all these ingredients that I've added thus far. Everything is super clean, super nutritious, and all about to give it some really impactful flavor and texture. We're gonna add our tomato paste.
I think those are the pre-cooked flours. Tempered flour.
That is correct, they are.
Specialty meal.
So now what I'm gonna do is, I do hydrate these separately. I'm gonna add 200 grams of boiling water to my oat mixture and 350 grams of boiling water to my cracked mixture. And we'll just mix these up just till they're combined. And like I say, let those hydrate for about 6 minutes. Now, the reason I've done them separately, and people might ask that, because that would be a really good question to ask. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked. What I'm doing it for is because I've found throughout my testing that the oat flour, okay, doesn't require the same amount of time or amount to hydrate. So by adding the extra water to the cracked mixture, you get a better hydration, okay? They do end up getting mixed together and becoming one complete relationship with each other, but at this point, the hydration is just best done separately. All right, so it's been that 6 minutes, and we've now hydrated our specialty milled pulse flours by Avena, and it is so integral to this because that's what mimics the binding property that eggs would normally do, okay? So now we're gonna mix these two together, and you'll also notice, I think it was commented a little bit earlier, is that you do have a very nice, pleasant, attractive color that I think consumers could truly appreciate. So once those are folded together, we're gonna add one other ingredient, which is gonna be our agar. So what I've done is I've boiled water, added the agar, which is just a seaweed extract, so completely vegan. And what I steeped the boiling water before the agar just with a little bit of mushroom powder, just once again to give it a little bit of an earthiness for its flavor profile. So that just gets folded in at the very end. Now you don't have to vigorously mix or overly intensely mix this now. It's just about folding in that agar, just evenly dispersing. And what's really nice and unique about these flours as well is once that initial hydration has taken place, they have what looks to be, you could see this and say, oh, that's kind of a little bit soft, or maybe it's going to be a little bit tacky. But once that sits for an additional 2 minutes, they form and bind just like you're doing any type of meat. It's really, really amazing and easy to work with. Okay, now we got to form. Once they've hydrated, you'll notice they just come together like super nice. Yeah, and in fact, quite honestly, like if you allow it to sit like just a little bit longer, okay, because it continues, those flours continue to absorb some of that moisture, and it'll become just a little bit less tacky than that. But still, once again, still very easy to form, okay?
Does it change the way the burger eats and tastes by how long you let it sit?
No, not in this case. It might if you're talking about an extended amount of time, because what ends up happening, and that's great that you asked that, because that kind of goes right into the next step, is I form them and then I freeze them, okay? And this is just for what could potentially be an upscaling type procedure that a company might want to use. So form them, freeze them, and then I vacuum seal them. And then I actually circulate them just to actually gelatinize the starches. Okay, so I'll bring it out here. So yeah, once again, I freeze them. And the reason I freeze them is just so that the patty itself in the vac sealing process doesn't get misshapen. Okay, so these wouldn't have to be frozen to, do anything to the quality or the final product or anything like that. It was just so that they stayed exactly the shape that they were. So then I vacuum seal them, and then, like I say, just go right into what would be a thermocirculator water bath. I set it for 172 degrees, and I let that go for 25 minutes. Okay, and what that does is that sets the starches and then fully cooks that patty, so that in a consumer type application, you'd be able to pull those out of the package, open them up, pan fry them, and they're good. They're fully cooked. We do always recommend to take them to like a 160 degree Fahrenheit food safe level, but for all intents and purposes, you could open up the package and just eat them as is, because they would be fully cooked.